Living wealthy, the basics, power and freedom. Session 3, the current world of power and freedom. Tonight's workshop consists of releasing complaints and superstitions that limit prosperity, conversations for wealth, and of course, a prosperity blaster. Thank you for joining us tonight for session 3, Living Wealthy, the Basics, Power and Freedom. I'm Nikki. Along with me tonight, we have Nicole, Viara, and none other than Ronnie B. And we are your course leaders for this session. The intention of this course is for people to create breakthroughs in their ability to create breakthroughs for living wealthy. This 6-session seminar has inquiries and exercises you can apply immediately in manifesting breakthrough results in the areas of power and freedom. Of course, because that's what this is about. There is a powerful way to listen and participate in this seminar. Listen from what 3 breakthroughs am I creating tonight in the areas of power and freedom? As you are working, we're going to share what your fellow participants are saying. Now we have Gloria Kenner in Toronto who says, "Thank you. This course has given my husband and I a new lease on a marriage that was heading toward divorce." I loved Nicole's comments for taking responsibility instead of being a victim and blaming the other person. Powerful. That was huge. I asked myself, do I want the issue resolved or do I want to make some point with my husband, which is really just making him wrong? It has been mentioned couples say the number one reason for divorce is money or issues about money. And I said to myself, that is us. It seems like my husband and I are constantly arguing about money and finances. Divorce seemed inevitable. There was something Ronnie B said about the past and the current world, how limitations on your power are inauthentic, that they are not real, they are the past. That blew my mind, and I just started crying. I realized my husband and I really don't have money issues. The real issues is I have never forgiven myself for cheating on my husband with his younger brother. Having arguments with him about money was simply an act, so I wouldn't have to be present to guilt or shame for what I had done. My husband forgave me years ago for hurting him deeply. I will always remember him saying, "Baby, I forgive you if you forgive me for whatever my part was in what happened." We forgave each other, but I never forgave myself. My current world around money collapsed along with protecting myself from him using my cheating as an excuse for anything he might do wrong, which honestly he has never done in 10 years. Today, I finally did what he did 10 years ago. I said a prayer to Allah, thanking him for giving me such a wonderful man, and ended my prayer forgiving myself. Later that evening, my husband and I had a wonderful conversation about our finances. We were able to nail down all our issues, and more importantly, we found easy ways to resolve them, and it was amazing. One more thing I want to share. Later in the week, a legal matter we had been waiting to settle was decided our way, and we received a check for $30,000. We had been working on this matter for several years, and it just cleared up. This is no accident, and I say it has a lot to do with this course. May Allah bless each of you. I am forever grateful. Any insights? Ronnie B, Nicole, any insights?
Yes, I that was powerful, you know, feedback from Gloria. And really what I'm getting that she got is that what you think you're really upset about
Hmm.
is not what you're upset about. There's a lot of times in something inauthentic at play that's kind of like separating, and then what happens is, the upset, you think it's about one thing, but there's really something that you're not really telling the truth about. And once you get to whatever that truth
Ah,
is, it can blow your mind. And so it basically blew her mind. And she's like, wow, wait a minute. He's wrong about everything. And so I'm just throwing, and basically kind of, throwing up uh, uh, a storefront, pretending I'm selling candy, but in the back there's gambling going on, right? And so
Right.
now she basically, broke through and found that, hey, you've got like a real racket going on in the back of this little candy store you got going here. And she busted it, and it really empowered her in her marriage, and she forgave herself because she was the one running the racket. It had nothing to do with her husband.
Right. Running the racket. Yes, she was the one running the racket.
And thought it was about money. It had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with money. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, she could probably go ahead and get those new pair of shoes she was eyeing.
oh,
And
Especially
he
since
could
she just
probably
got
go
that
ahead.
30,000. Yeah, she just got that $30,000 check. She can take it for more
Exactly.
shopping.
Right. And he could probably go ahead and get that watch that he had been wanting and not have to argue about it. Okay. What about you, Ronnie B? What say you?
um, it's interesting that because she was totally doing a perpetration,
Hmm.
you know, and I'm looking at her husband, and I'm going, and the thing about a lot of times about a perpetration, the other party has no clue
Mm-hmm.
because it's a perpetration.
Hmm.
So they're really thinking that it's X, but it's not. And they're the one, they're trying to come up why this and that, going crazy when it's a perpetration.
Hmm.
So I thought it was great that she owned that it was a perpetration and that she was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes when it's like I don't know if you ladies have ever had the experience of maybe a couple or some friends who you know they what they do is when they know that it's time for a relationship to end or they want out, they pick a fight. They pick a
Mm-hmm.
fight. They're gonna
Mm-hmm.
fight. And it's usually a perpetration because the person, they may not have wanted to fight. What's up? But the fight is a way so that they can say that they were right. Well, he said
Mm-hmm.
this, she said that, blah 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 blah. I didn't need that no good woman. I didn't need that no good man. That's
Mm-hmm.
what they did, but it was all a perpetration.
Mm-hmm.
All a perpetration. So and wow, and the other part is that um, obviously a space opened up, and it's interesting. the thing about forgiving is most of us collapse forgiving with, I'll just say like apologizing, and not really get into what forgiving is, the process of giving for.
Mm-hmm.
So you're giving
Hmm.
up the lesser for something greater and better. So it's not like, yes, it is breaking the shadows, release all of that. But what it is you giving that up, like I'm giving that up for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my highest and best desires. So no accident that, uh, they had a great conversation about finances because the perpetration wasn't in play,
Right.
and it gave her freedom. I dare say that, but because the other part is that if you're perpetrating, you're suffering too.
Yes.
You're suffering too, because you're being thrown to a false need to do the perpetration in the first place. So
Mm-hmm.
that is where the inauthenticity lies.
I would say the same. I would agree. Yep. Well, guys, thank you all for sharing. We're going to go on now to talk about Henry in Fayetteville, Arkansas, who says, I love your webinars. This one about power and freedom has been great. I agree, Henry. He says, I own a corporation and have personal financial issues. I thought my issues had nothing to do with lack, and boy, was I surprised. What I like about this seminar is it doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have, or how organized you are with your finances, it's about freedom. I own a small trucking company which earns about 10 million in revenues. People look at that and figure we are swimming in cash. Of course, they don't understand business and usually don't get or care that profits and revenues are two different things. I have been resenting people for not understanding where I am coming from, especially if I turn down their requests for a donation or give less than they wanted. I have it where people are saying, I have it where I feel people are unappreciative, especially those at my church. My predictable future is the church would come a begging for whatever thing they were doing, asking. They would ask for a large sum of money. I would counter that with whatever I felt appropriate. They would say, thank you. I would feel guilty for not giving more. Then I'm upset because they think I'm cheap or stingy. And then repeat. Looking at the mind money matrix, I see that entire conversation is inside the matrix and it is nothing but the past. See, when I was 9 years old, I had one slice of pizza to myself, and my brother called me stingy. I have been trying to all my life to avoid being labeled stingy. Now, talk about a light bulb going off. It's like a weight lifted. My wife said, maybe you can shift your current world to I am fair and just when it comes to sharing your money. And I gave her a big fat kiss and broke out in a huge smile. So thank you. Any insights from the team? Comments?
So,
Yeah. It's interesting when he said, a lot of people don't know the distinction between profits and revenues. I mean, $10 million in revenue sounds like a lot of money, but it really depends on your industry and what, profit margins are, typical ones for that industry. But in business, typically most businesses, you know, on average get about 3% profit margin. So $10 million is not that much money. And I could see when people hear $10 million, their eyes get big. But what
Yeah.
the powerful part about this his Henry share is that he really got that he's a listening for people calling him stingy, because in his world that's how he occurs. So no matter what it is they say around money, what when they're asking him for money, or asking him for a contribution or donation, and he counters with something else, or he says no, in his world they think he's stingy.
Mm-hmm.
And but the reality is, in all he said was no, or he just countered, that was it. The thinking that he's stingy is really coming from him. And once he got that, it's like, it sounds like that's where his breakthrough occurred. It's like, okay, yeah, this is all that's in the mind money matrix. All of it.
All of it.
Yeah. It's like, deep into the matrix.
Yeah, how you say Nicole? Deep into the matrix.
Deep into the matrix. I'm just thinking about the
We're
movie
way
where they're all kind of plugged in.
down that dark neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. Wow. Mm-mm. No,
Ronnie, anything from you?
yeah, and Nicole is so correct that um, people don't get the distinction, of revenues versus profits. And I have had two uncles who actually were in the trucking business, and at one point they were in the trucking business together. And I had one uncle, he always taught me something. He said, a profit is a profit is a profit. If you don't have a profit, if you don't have it in the bank, if you didn't make the profit. Now, he said it's nice to have a bunch of revenues, but if all you got is a bunch of expenses, maybe you're better off, doing something on your own where you have a profit, you know. And my other uncle, he always thought big, which was good. But uh, he would have, he's like in the category, hey, I got 10 million in revenues, but once all this said and all the employees are paid, taxes, all that other stuff, I'm making about 50, 60 grand. That's the revenue. That's the profit. So, it can go like that. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that stood out for me was that he said that his words, the church would come up begging.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say that they would come and ask.
Mm-mm.
That's a different thing. So that was when Nicole says deep into that night. So what's up with that you have it that they're begging?
Only
Mm-hmm.
stingy people would have it that they're begging, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it all lines up with his occurring world. That incident at 9, he's stuck with that, like, glue.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And I wanted to touch on that where imagine all these years. I mean, we don't know how old he is now, but just imagine all these years, the work that he has done trying to avoid being appearing or being called stingy,
Yeah,
that there was no freedom. There it was completely is no power and no freedom in trying to avoid instead of just being what you are when you're authentic.
exactly. Because what happens is that you're not authentic.
You're not authentic.
Yep. And uh, I'll put it like this, and not saying that not a good person, or I'm sure that he loved giving to if he's giving to his church, that's a step above a whole bunch of folks. So
Right.
That's true.
so he is. They actually do come and ask him, and it sounds like he actually does, But it's all. but you can never appreciate what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't appreciate the giving because that inauthenticity is always hanging in there. And no doubt, you can imagine, hey, him and his spouse, they go out to dinner. Uh, I can see him struggling over the tip.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, well, this or that. I don't want to appear stingy, just stuff there. But one thing that I thought was really powerful is you really can see the thread of him taking responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I, I, and like he was owning that this is that, hey, I have been resenting people. Not questioning, he goes, no, I've been doing it. And like they say, tell the truth and shame the devil.
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
tell the truth and shame the devil. Now, I love what his wife said, that maybe you can shift your occurring word and to I am fair and just.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which is, way more, there's some power in fair and just. Because with fair and just, you can give freely. You can give freely, and it's a good thing because it's free.
Yes.
It's free. It's not to avoid being criticized or because it's the right thing to do. It's it's free. Hey, this was fair and just. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Glad he gave her a big old fat kiss.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you all for chiming in. Now we're going to go over to Nicole for a bold statement. Nicole.
Here's a bold statement. Your actions for having power and freedom in the present are based on the future you have created for having power and freedom, not your past. If the past is dictating your actions in the present for having power and freedom, there is something inauthentic hidden from your view. You have the power to create the future anytime, under any circumstances, because of the power in and of your words. Your words impact you, your environment, your community, the world. Roll up your sleeves. We're going to work this evening. Let's start with a review of the real mind money matrix. So let's go over the real mind money matrix. There are 4 quadrants. The first quadrant is listening for having money that's already there. The second quadrant is complaints that persist for having money, the predictable future for having money. The third quadrant is the conviction and the lie for having prosperity. And the fourth quadrant is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or lack of faith. We have our 4 quadrants. What do you see that is different? Our occurring future money is mainly based in our past. It impacts how we generate money or perceive how we can and should create income for living wealthy. This matrix keeps you boxed into your past experiences for generating wealth, money, and income. The past becomes the basis for generating your future of living wealthy. So let's talk about the quadrants again. I'm going to do a brief review. So the first one again is the listening for having money that's already there. The second one is the complaints that persist for having money, the predictable future for having power and freedom. The third one is the conviction and the lie for having prosperity. And the fourth one is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, which we also call the FUD factor or lack of faith. So these quadrants combine as a matrix manifesting your occurring world for living wealthy, especially for power and freedom. One of your fellow participants had this to say about the matrix and the occurring world. So Zenobia Glennon of Reno, Nevada says, I'm a proud veteran. It touched my heart to hear Nikki share about how she's handling PTSD. I say handling because I heard an occurring world that does not include struggling with PTSD. I know VR is a veteran. We met in LA several years ago. I wonder if she'll remember me. I'll say, think media convention and Perry water. I heard VR's interview with Nikki and they made me proud to be a woman veteran. I gotta say, I have been upset with Ronnie B and Nicole. I love them and I hate them. You see, they made me see there is an occurring world. I'm trying to project or manipulate others into seeing where I'm always right and my act is always together. Never let them see you hurt, play it safe, hold back, play tit for tat, make sure no one ever one-ups me. Look good at all costs, never look foolish, never appear needy. In my current world, I experience being a fraud, fake, phony, and a coward. I leave a lot in the tank, whether it's business or relationships. I don't remember the last time I gave 100% to anything. And the last session, you said, try not to fix anything, just allow yourself to be present. Well, this sucks. I want to fix this. I'm ready for the next session. This is driving me crazy. This is blowing my mind. Duh, I guess that's the point. Keep doing God's work. So let me check in with the team. So what say you, Ronnie B, about Zenobia's feedback?
I'm going, it's been a long time since I had some Perrier water. Especially going to a club in order some Perrier water. That's been a long time ago.
Wow.
You know, you know, it's really Zenobia is ahead of the seminar. Okay, she's ahead of the seminar already. You know.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's way ahead of the seminar, and and I can, as Zenobia, almost everybody loves and hates me at the same time. So,
well, we wouldn't really be doing our job if we weren't loved and hated. Because it's really, we're all about like, transformation and having people really be present to that they can create power and freedom. And that's par for the course. That's part of the game. You're gonna hate and love us, and we promise you the goods.
it's a sometimes well, one, we didn't make you see anything. I'm glad you chose to see something, out of the conversation. And but again, I think that, like I said, she's just so far ahead. and I don't want to spoil it for the rest of her contemporaries. But where she said that, you know, the inauthenticities always, their design is to protect you from something that does not exist. That is their design. The inauthenticities are designed. That piece of the past that gets stuck is put there to protect you from something that no longer exists, if it ever exists. Okay? Now, thus it always leaves you in your real experience of your current world as being a fraud, fake, phony, or a coward in some way. You know, now that's just not Zenobia. That happens to me. You know, if I'm being inauthentic in certain areas, and I might not even be present to, you know, that, you know, like, whoa, wow, oh my God, you know, but the lack of freedom and power will be there. And wherever you're not present to 100% of your power. Now, where you're just not present to it, there is something that's inauthentic, that's hidden from your view. Now, because there's a difference between something that's hidden from your view and something that's in plain sight and you just choose to deal with. So, you know, you might say, you know what, I don't like X, but, and I'm gonna complain about X, but I'm gonna do X anyway. You know, well, hey, you chose it, you know what you're doing. But if you like, I don't know why, you know, then it's called, it's hit. And and a lot of what we're doing is so that things that are hidden become revealed. So you have a choice. You know, there's some areas that I'm a complete jerk. I am, God forgive me, I am. And you know, and I'll be that way. And if you talk to my sisters, they'll go, in that area, Ronnie gonna be a jerk. You know, and he does not care about me. He has an intention to, he will intentionally be a jerk in that area. So they go, let's not go there. You know, we don't play with him in that area, you know. But
And you own it though.
yeah, right,
That's
hey,
where
I'm
there's
not,
some
you know,
power. You completely own it.
yeah, you know, okay. Well, hey, you know, and this, when I'm working with talent, I have a way that I work with talent. And, you know, because we're all Grumpy Radio Network, that's there's a lot of moving particles. And um, one of the ways I work with talent is I'm a constant demand. And most folks aren't used to that. And guess what? I don't care. You know, now I'm responsible that, hey, you know, somebody might say, look, I'm gonna punch your ass out. You know what? I play the game that way. Now I don't think you're gonna punch me out, but guess what? If that happens, uh, I know the water that I'm swimming in. Okay. So even if I cross a line, I'm not, nope, I did it, and I'll just deal with it because you know where you're going. And Zenobia, unfortunately, you have given 100%. Unfortunately, you gave the 100% to the inauthenticity for its survival.
And
And
we all do that.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's just not Zenobia, it's the human condition.
Yeah, we sit right out there, and now we may go, you know what? Well, if I can put 100% into that, maybe I could just take it out of there and put it to the areas that would better serve. So, wow, thank you, Zenobia, for sharing that. And uh, VR may be in here a little bit later on, but we're gonna definitely let her know. We're gonna definitely ask her about that Perrier walk.
Yes. So Nikki, do you have anything to share? Nikki.
My
I was on mute and talking my little tail off.
oh, okay. And we got VR.
Welcome, PR. I want to
I'm
say
playing catch up, but it sounds good.
first, I want to thank you, Zenobia, for acknowledging my statement about handling and not struggling, for identifying and acknowledging the distinction. I really and truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. And also, I want to thank you for your service, my fellow veteran. And I want to encourage you to keep doing the work. Thank you for being in the course. Thank you for doing the work. Keep doing it. There's more to be revealed for you. And welcome to this side of power and freedom in your authenticity and not making everyone see things your way. That is all.
Thanks, Nikki, and welcome, VR.
Thank
And we're
you.
glad you're with us. So we are taking a 6-minute break, and when we return, we're having an inquiry that focuses on the future and one of the quadrants.
Encouragement. I inspire and uplift others through my thoughtful words and gestures. Looking back, I may recall a time in my life when I was encouraged by a favorite teacher or friend. I have that ability as well. The words I speak to others have the potential to inspire and uplift. For words carry positive energy. Even a nod of the head or a warm smile radiates a harmonious vibration that affects others in a positive way. It is an honor and a great responsibility to hold a high vision for the lives of others and encourage them through empowering words and kind gestures. I feel a sense of great contribution to the world, knowing that I am influencing others in a positive way. I inspire and uplift others through my thoughtful words and gestures. May the God of steadfastness and encouragement grant you to live in harmony with one another in accordance with Christ Jesus. Romans 15:5. There's nothing anybody can do. There's nothing anybody can say. Everybody's already told you that life can be harder than tough, like a rodeo ride, or a turf in the tide, or when you're on your own, loneliness cries. There's nothing anybody can do. There's nothing anybody can say. Yeah, yeah. Somebody tells you that mending a heartache can be quite cathartic. You know that it's true, but wish you hadn't started. Because the life of the soul of your heart is departed. Wipe away your tears. It won't be long before your hurts and tears. And you forget all the hurt, all the pain, all the swearing that you'll never go there again. It's the love that you tasted, was time that you wasted. The love you can see, oh, and the wind's always turning. So don't hesitate, oh, your heart is still hurting. If somebody tells you that mending a heartache can be quite cathartic, you know that it's true, but wish you hadn't started. Cause the life of the soul of your heart is departed. Walk away your tears. It won't be long before your told you love can be harder to trust, like a Romeo right, or like circling the tide. But when you're on your own, the loneliness cries. There's nothing anybody can do. There's nothing anybody can do. Encouragement.
Welcome back for our next segment.
Yes. So we are starting a new inquiry. And inquiries always start with a question. Here's the question. What has you be and act the way you are in the present? Take some time to really look deeply into the question beyond any automatic responses. What has you be and act the way you are in the present? I'm going to be quiet for just a minute while you're looking at that question for yourselves. Most would say who we are being and how we are acting is a combination of our learned experiences, educations, and circumstances to sum up the past. Isn't it true who you are being and acting in the present is based on the culmination of your life experiences from the past? Makes sense, right? Well, we want you to try on something a little different. Who you are being and acting in the present is not based in your past. Say what? Okay, let me say that again. Who you are being and acting in the present is not based in your past. Well, that opens up the question, if who I am being and acting in the present is not based on my past experiences, what is it based on? Who you are being and acting in the present is based on the future you are living into. If it seems like it is the past, then there's something inauthentic from your past that you have put in your future. Everything you find in the matrix, all the limiting conversations and beliefs, are the past misfiled in your future. For example, let's say your life is a filing cabinet and you have 3 drawers: a past, present, and a future drawer. Now, sometimes your secretary gets distracted, will accidentally place something that should be in your past drawer into your future drawer. So when you deal with money instead of seeing opportunity, you see all the mistakes of the past and you behave in ways to protect yourself from that past and miss the opportunity of the future. Or you make the past absolute or right, where only what worked in the past is acceptable, and you fear the future and miss the opportunity of the future. Anyone care to share about the past being stuck in your future? Maybe a recent past?
You know, it's Nicole, when um, you know, that is the heart of an inauthenticity, is that a piece of the past has been stuck in your future and it's blocking you from seeing the future that's truly available to you. You know, just
Mm-hmm.
like if you got scared by a dog when you were a kid, and now every time you see a dog, you cross the street. Well, that dog may be fine, but you know, like what's in your future is this dog is going to bite me or hurt me or something. And uh, you know, what came to mind for me was that uh, I remember that as I was growing up as a kid, you know, one of the things that I remember my mother told me once, and she said, "Look, as long as you black, you're gonna have to work 10 times harder to be equal." Now, I get my mother was saying that hey, you gotta get that in the world we live in, that you can't just do the job. You got to do better than that to to keep the darn job, to be acceptable. So in my mind, I kind I'm like, okay, I get what mom's saying. You got to work hard, and you got to make sure that you're on top of your game. Well, I didn't really get that how much I had taken that to heart. So whatever jobs I would get, uh, it wasn't a matter of me being, working harder. I put it like this. I may not have been the one with like who could say all the great words, okay, and all that savviness and stuff, but I would outwork you. I may not know as much as but I would outwork you. So sure, you may have whatever you have, but I'm producing 10 times more than you produce. And there was a cost to that. Because if you can imagine, that not just putting in your effort 10 times, 10, there had to be like no dispute. And I remember one day, um, I think I was driving something, and I had a really great job making nice money, especially for a brother during those times, making nice money, all of that. And but I was totally unhappy. Probably because I was working 10 times harder than everybody else. But I remember saying to myself that maybe one day my kids will be able to have. Now, I'm a single person, no kids, and no relationship. So my future was looking kind of bleak, you know. But fortunately, I was at some, with work stuff like I was able to see that. But that was so when I really got how much that conversation was driving me. Now, it didn't go away because I would catch myself. And people I work with, they will go, oh no, uh, now I try to do maybe instead of 10, like 3 times, I'll try to moderate it, but it's still there. I just automatically have to produce. And, but now I can catch myself. But that's what came to mind was that having that conversation, because most of what's in your future, the past that's stuck in your future is actually a conversation, because the events that occurred, they're already gone. The moment they happened, that was in the past. So
Yep.
the physicalness is in the past. The only thing that's actually in your future is the conversation. And that's where your future does lie, in the conversation. So that's what I got, Nicole.
Yeah, and for me, it sounds like the movie Groundhog's Day. It was the same day over and over and over again. Is a classic example, kind of like to see that on film of what it looks like to have your past and your future.
Mm.
And
And
I
also,
would recommend that film to anyone, because it's just like a channel. You're stuck on channel 9, and and you're wondering like, wait, why is this the same old? It's like, well, the event that occurred in the past, but the conversation persists, and it has it be alive in the future.
a good I also think a good reflection of that, Nicole, is relationships. If in a relationship someone told you in the past you wasn't good enough, you wasn't pretty enough, you wasn't this, you wasn't that, that relationship is over. But if you bring that conversation with you into the present, it immediately impacts any other relationships you're trying to have, because you're still
Yes.
having that past conversations. Like they say, don't bring your luggage, that baggage from your old relationship with you. But if you're still having that conversation with yourself, then you still got that baggage. It's still there.
So true. So Nikki, what do you see?
Man, man. Let me tell you, this has been such a tremendous difference for me in this session and in this season altogether, right? Couldn't this we could not be doing this at a better time. I had it be since I started going to the VA, started really addressing my issues with PTSD and all that, that my treatment and my well-being in those regards were at the hands and were only at the hands of the VA, and the VA and within and only existing within the VA's confinements,
Mm.
and allowances. And when I declined, pretty much refused to take medication and use that as a band-aid just to get by, to satisfy the quota or the need, or to satisfy the statistics, so to speak, and chose to stand for myself and what I really need, and that my voice in everything that needs to be heard has still not been heard, and take my stand on what God's word says for me in spite of, and that I am a coach, right? Um, I took something back for myself, and I began to seek and see other resources that are available for me to empower me and to better me without making me feel like I have to stay within some time frame to satisfy someone else. Freedom.
That is so powerful. So, I mean, what I'm getting out of what you're sharing is all of the limiting conversations and beliefs. We all have our own. And then there's the limiting conversations and beliefs that are out in the world that, at some point there's some expectation that we adopt them, kind of like misery loves company.
Mhm.
And so you got to do it this way, Nikki, because that is the way. And in reality, that may not be the way for you.
Mhm.
You get to say what the way is for Nikki. And only Nikki
Yes.
gets to say that.
Yes. Yes. That
So
is
Nicole,
it.
I saw this post on Instagram, and I can't give you the whole, I can't regurgitate the whole thing, but basically, it was this minister that was kind of preaching, and he was saying to people that it's okay that you didn't fit in, that you were never meant to fit in, that God had a whole nother plan for you. And so it's okay that, this circle didn't accept you and that circle didn't accept you. And I think people sometimes take on other people's stuff. Nikki saying, I'm throwing that off. I don't care what you say I should be feeling, how you say I should be dealing with this. I've got my own plan. And I think a lot of people need to throw that off. That's from the past, that other people are trying to pigeonhole you in something that's not a part of your present. It's not
Mhm.
who you are.
Mhm.
It's who somebody else is projecting that you are.
Mhm.
And you have to break free from that in order to be who you really are. But until you recognize it, you can't break free from something you don't know has you chained.
Mhm.
You gotta
yeah,
Mhm.
recognize. You gotta
yeah.
recognize it.
That's what's so powerful about this work, because part of the uh there's something inauthentic from the past that's been put in the future.
Mhm.
That inauthenticity, the source of it could be from a lot, let's just say it could come from a lot of different places. It's kind of like, you picked up, there's an event that happened and you made up something about you, or
Mhm.
someone said something to you, like VR, when you were saying earlier about you're not this, you're not enough, you're not pretty, and you bought that and you made it mean something about you. That's an inauthenticity too, that you picked up, and like, basically it's like it was lying around, somebody said it, hanging out, you picked it up, and you wore it, like a veil. And and it's really, it's not you, regardless of the source of it. It's inauthentic.
Mhm. Absolutely. What you said, Nicole. Absolutely. What you said, VR. Absolutely. Absolutely. And refuse. I refuse to open up for 30 minutes here, then stuff everything away, shove it all in, stuff it all away for another 30 days, pull out an emergency thing, act like, act like, this doesn't matter. And in the meantime, medicate myself with
Girl, you better go
something
ahead and speak. There
that
better be
is,
some more veterans on here getting this message.
that is, that
Because
is,
you're not the only one living that. And somebody else,
yes,
they hear that so that they can break
exactly.
free.
Exactly. Medicate myself with something that has other side effects while I'm trying to get a handle on things that I know exist,
Yep.
without tapping into something adding something that I don't know exists that can have a longer effect. Like, no, where's the power in that?
There is
No. And
none. There is
there,
none.
there is none. There is none. just wait for the next crisis, and then share my crisis at the next. No, I said I need daily work and daily therapy and daily help. And I will know when I am done with what I need daily. And if you cannot give this to me daily, which I understand because of your confinements, I will go to the two sources that I know of first and foremost, my God and myself. And I will take the time that I need, and I will put me first. I will
Yep.
You
put
know,
all of me first.
Yep.
this is perfect because this kind of leads us into our exercise to
Yep.
start revealing the process of revealing the predictable future for having money. But you could also fill that in blank for having whatever it is you want in your life. So you create the following categories. And again, this is about having money. You created in the last seminar wealth, money, relationships, freedom, and recreation. And under each category, you answer the question, what do I desire that I do not have or is not at the level of fulfillment I seek? And then next to each item, you wrote the predictable future. You were to include what happens or doesn't happen, lack of action, how you feel and who you are being, upset, resigned, or sad, the cost to your power, and the ability to produce the results you desire around money. But before I share the email from one of our fellow participants, let's review a few things about the predictable future. There's the future, the probable future, the possible future, and the certain future. We're inquiring into the predictable future. The predictable future is not a guaranteed future or a certain future. And if you were a betting person, that is what you put your money on happening. If the predictable future, in the predictable future, you are a victim and you agree. Let me say it again. In the predictable future, you are a victim and you agree this is pretty much how things will go, and you are resigned to that future. There's no possibility for it to go any other way or to resolve the issue. So now I'm going to share an email from one of our participants. Chastity Williams of Buffalo, New York says, I did the exercise. I don't know what is worse, the predictable future or the vicious circle thing. I own a small business with 3 employees, and we're always struggling to pay the bills at the end of the month. What's predictable is that I get close to the end of the month and start panicking that all the bills will not be paid. I'll run around like a chicken with his head cut off, start being short sometimes, mean to my employees and my husband. I'll call several clients to beg them to hurry up and pay. The bills get paid, but then next month, the same old thing happens. I'm sick of it. I'm starting to see predictable futures everywhere, and most of them having me running around like a hamster in a cage. God bless, and please keep giving us these wonderful seminars. Is there any coaching Nicole or Nikki can provide? I need some freedom. Love the course of the Prosperous Divas rock. Any coaching for Chastity? We're going to go deeper into the inquiry and conversations. So we have an exercise. So over to Nikki.
Whoa, you're not gonna get ready coaching?
Okay, yeah, let's go.
She asked, y'all.
She sure did. Forgive me, Chastity. Forgive me.
I might be able to throw in a little coaching too. Because I
So,
do coaching.
so Chastity, your occurring world is that your your bills are not going to get paid. You're not going to be able to make it. That's your predictable future. This is going to happen every month. What could you say? You're looking to the past, and the past is in your future.
Mhm.
So of course it's going to happen over and over. What say you, Chastity, about how it's going to go next month?
Mhm.
What do you declare? What do you say? And what are you going to make happen?
That is good. That is good. I would even say this, Chastity, that how you are providing services now to your clients is not fully authentic in the best that you could give because you're giving and you're serving your clients from a place of lack. We serve differently when we are serving from a place of lack. And we stay on a wheel also. So you're going to have to move your mind from the past, the mind money matrix of where there is a lack to there is abundance. There is more than enough. Now you may say, well, Nikki, that's not true. I'm telling you, at the end of the bills, I have more months. I have way more months than what I have bills. It's not just occurring, it's my reality. And I get it. You're going to have to transfer from the predictable future of what it always has been and what it just was to what I desire and create from that space. And trust the process and trust yourself, removing the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt.
Another thing, Chastity, the question I have is like, what is there something somewhere there's an inauthenticity around the money? There's somewhere, just take a look.
Nicole,
We,
I'm going to say that this is one of those where like they say, I love you and I hate you. I think I got a hate you moment. So I'll say chastity. What I kind of hear is uh, poopy crap. I hear poopy crap out of you, chastity. That's right, girlfriend. I've been around
Uh-oh.
and I hear poopy crap. And the reason I say I hear poopy crap is because you always get the money. See, you didn't say you didn't get the money and you missed bills, blah, blah, blah. No, you say you always get the money. So that tells me that you kind of like that at the end of the month, you're running around like a chicken with his head cut off, kind of getting short with people you like that. You're getting something out of that. I know that
mm,
because you wouldn't be doing it.
yep.
You wouldn't be doing it. You'd fire one of your employees. Well, I'll fire one of my employees. That's one less bill I got to worry about. Since you got them, it sounds like you're not going to get rid of the husband. You're going to keep him too. So the thing to get authentic about is that you do not have an issue uh, with that at the end of the month you're struggling to get the money and you have to beg clients. That's the story. Now that might be the story you tell yourself, so that you get off your butt and go do whatever you need to do. But we will do that. Like how some people say you need something to motivate yourself. Well, you might be able to come up with something more powerful, but you just want to get straight that, you know what, I like doing this. I like at the end of the month being the hero and flying in with my superwoman cape and saving the day and getting the bills paid. Now I can be off, I mean I can be off, that's why, we have a diverse group. But usually when I smell poopy crap, I can go to Vegas and bet a dollar and win. Be
You
honest.
know, Ronnie, it's kind of like, wow, look at me. I did it. I created a miracle here. She's saying, Shasta, you're saying you're sick of it, but no, it's you're I agree with Ronnie. You're getting something out of that. Like I said, there's something
Juice out of that one.
inauthentic. And the inauthenticity is that you say you're sick of it, hiding that you really get a rush out of coming and saving the day every month. But you created all that so you get to be the hero. It's like, but is that like, what's the cost of that?
Yeah.
What's the cost of that on your clients, your employees, on your relationship with your husband, on relationship with your clients and employees? Like, what's the cost? There's a cost. You're paying a big price for being the hero every month.
Hmm.
And I'm going to top it off and just say, you need to change your behavior. You can fix it by changing your behavior. But it's like everybody else said, there's something you like about what you're doing, or there's something you're getting out of what you're doing because you're running a business. So set up policies for your invoices when they're due, give people discounts, create incentives. There's a million ways you can fix this if you want to.
Right. Yeah, VR, what you said is that, and this is where, like I said, but I start noticing that is poppycock is that she knows that she knows exactly how to fix it. It's just being authentic and straight that, you know what, I kind of like at the end of the month, I can kind of dominate everybody. Because really that's what it is. I get to dominate everybody at the end of the month. But we're not going to, Nicole, I'm not going to pick on Chastity, and you need to keep moving.
Or Ronnie, just to give her the benefit of the doubt, she's living past behaviors and need to undo it.
Yeah.
Who did you watch that worked like this and was last minute and disorganized and procrastinated? And now you're reliving that in your present life. Let it go. It's not necessary. You don't have to go through this stress. You can fix it. So fix it.
And Chastity, I'd like to wrap it up with this. I don't want you to think that you're the only person who has that behavior. That's what human beings do. I have a friend who owns a business and she does the same thing you do. We've been friends for over 20 years. She does this every single month. And we had a really straight conversation about it. She goes, I do that and I like that I do that. And I own it and I'm just going to keep doing it. It makes me happy. I said, that's great. Do you get the cost to your power and freedom? And she says, yes, I do. I'm like, that's great. But what I'm clear about is you're not committed to that. And it's really, if it's to be, it's up to you to shift that. And I know you can do it. And I just want to acknowledge you for like sharing your experience via email and really willing to take on your transformation in this area. I really got that you're in it to win it. So I just want to applaud you for just stepping out, and we're here for you. So now it's time to go deeper into the inquiry and conversations. So we have an exercise with Nikki. Nikki, would you like to share the exercise with us?
I absolutely would. What happened here? I absolutely would love to share the exercise with us, with you. Our exercise this week is the having exercise. And this exercise looks at the second quadrant, the complaints that persist for having money slash the predictable future for having money. Create the following categories: wealth, money, relationships, freedom, recreation. Under each category, answer this question: what do I desire that I do not have, or is not at the level of fulfillment I seek? Next to each item, write the complaints that keep persisting around having money or being able to manifest money. Next to each item, write what way are you being around this issue, or how do you behave? Answer these questions. Am I getting a payoff for having this issue persist? What or who am I making wrong regarding this issue? Slash, how do I get to be right by having this issue persist? Who or what views slash opinions do I invalidate regarding ways to resolve the issue? Slash, or justify that my views or opinions are correct, even if they are not working for me. Who or what am I avoiding in doing what really needs to be done, so I will not be dominated by another or something? Who or what am I trying to dominate in the resolution of the issue? Am I simply avoiding responsibility? I know that seems like a lot. It is a lot because this is about your life. Your life matters. Your life is important to each of us. We honor and respect your struggle and your challenges. So, next to each item, write the predictable future. Include what happens or doesn't happen, the lack of action, how you feel, and who you are being. For instance, upset, resigned, sad. What is the cost to your power and ability to produce the results you desire around money? Now, team, what do you see is made available for people from doing the exercise? And I'm going to start with Ronnie. Ronnie, what do you see is made available?
Well, it's really interesting because, uh, one of the most powerful places to find inauthenticities is in your complaints. And not just any complaints, but complaints that persist, complaints that you've had for years, for months. Uh, Complaints that you still complaining about something from a couple of days ago, because that's the past, and you're bringing that past in your future, but you're doing it on purpose, and so you're purposefully creating an inauthenticity. You're purposely doing that. And, like the young lady who at the end of the month, she has her thing where, but she gets all the bills and everything paid, but she complains about it. Well, that's inauthentic. And there are costs to that when we're operating in that inauthenticity. The, wow. And the complaints that you have fall right in line with that predictable future. Because uh, the thing about the power of your word is that you want to be right. As human beings, we want to be right. And uh, what we don't realize is that it's not that we want to be right, we're going to be right. It's just that we don't get that. That's how much power we really have. So when we give powers to our complaints, it's taking power away from the things that we really want, because we're going to be right. And so that energy is going to go that way to reinforce that you're right about that complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a great American writer. Um, oh my God, Mark Twain. Mark Twain, that's the guy. And Mark Twain had an aunt, and um, Mark Twain smoked cigars, drank, did all sorts of, ate the bad food, all that other stuff, right? Now his aunt, really nice lady, teetotaler, ate right. Now the doctor tells him, Mark, if you don't give up them cigars, stop eating that bad food, drinking all that bad liquor, you're gonna die. So he's like, oh well, okay. Now his aunt dies, but he doesn't. And he goes, well, hey, my aunt, your aunt lived this great life. She was a teetotaler, ate health, did all that stuff. Uh, but she died. And he said she didn't have anything to give up. So he had plenty to give up so he could keep living, the smoking, everything else. And part of doing this exercise, you start seeing that there's something that you may be able to give up. And I used to complain. I was on a job where I complained uh, about my pay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I do this, I come up with all of that, and I really had it that uh, that they were BSing me on the pay. Well, one day I actually uh, the secretary was, for the manager who did, the payroll and stuff. She let me see the percentage increases for everybody. And for 4 years straight, I had the highest percentage increases. Now, in my world, I'm like, man, Joe, I'm actually getting the highest. I'm actually getting increases they don't give anybody else.
Hmm.
And but in my current world, I'm complaining. Well, that kind of stopped me from complaining. But I'm just thinking, wow, like why, think about the impact there that, hey, I got this complaint and it's not in reality. So that's what I got around that.
Hmm.
Oh, by the way, and it's always to avoid responsibility.
Ha!
It's
Oh yeah.
always to avoid responsibility. And I'm just going to share this one last thing. My cousin, man, Ronnie, I think that they're going to, they've been laying everybody off. They laid so and so off. So I'm like, well, hey, look, cuz, like, looks like they gonna do some things, and they can see that, my job ain't gonna be here. So I'm like, well, hey, look, cuz, maybe you should, maybe get your resume together, uh, start, doing some inquiries, into, maybe getting another position so that when things roll out, you either got something lined up, that sounds good. Well, all that made sense. Now, what my cousin did was complain and waited till they fired her. Well, not fired her, but she got hit in the round of layoffs. And then it was like, oh man, blah blah blah. I knew it was. I should have done this. And uh, you can tell when somebody is trapped is when you give them solutions, and they give you excuses not to take them. Now I've said enough.
Thank you, Ronnie. And Fiara, what about you? What do you see available from people doing the exercise?
No, I agree with Ronnie. A lot of that is you just got to dig deeper into taking responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that example about work was a good one because you know me, you know me, I'm a person of like real integrity. And my thing is that, if you take a job and they're paying you, you need to do the job. And if you don't think they're paying you enough or doing what they should do, then you need to put out a resume. But as long as you're gonna keep taking their paycheck, you need to keep doing the job. And so a lot of times we want the outcomes, but we don't want to do the input.
No.
Mm-hmm.
We want all the outcomes. We want a great relationship and we want to go places and do things, but we don't want to compromise.
Hmm.
Everything's got to be our way. So how is that going to be great? You got to realize what your responsibility is in the process and then take responsibility. You want to make
Mm-hmm.
more money and you think you can make more money, then go get a better job. Like what's holding you back? Why are you still at that place? Why are you still accepting that? Now, I used to always say people pay you what you allow them to pay you because an interview is both for you and the job. So what are you accepting in your life that you
Hmm.
shouldn't be accepting, that you should say no to? Or
Hmm.
have you become so complacent that whatever comes your way, you just like, oh, that's it. That's all I can do. It's you not taking responsibility because it's not all you can do. It's just what you're deciding to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it.
And Nicole.
I think that, for, there's like what Ronnie and Vera shared. Sometimes it's just, it's not even external things that are happening. It's like sometimes it's just things that you need to manage about yourself, right? Not like so much situations. And I'm just thinking about, me doing this exercise for myself. So I had like this persistent complaint about my weight, like, got this extra 20 pounds I need to lose, 30 pounds or whatever, right? So I remember I had an incident several years ago. I got really sick. I lost all this weight and lost a lot of muscle. And so I'm like, okay, this opportunity, build the muscle back up and not gain all the fat back. Like, right. So
Mm-hmm.
what happened is, okay, I gained muscle back, but also it gained a lot of fat. Like it was like heavier now than I was before I got sick. So here I am. I'm like exercising. I'm an exercise fiend. I'm at the gym 4 to 5 days a week, an hour at a time. Right? It's like you can count on me for that. You know, I eat pretty clean, and I just the weight wouldn't budge. And I'm like, okay. So what I really got that, and I complained about it, right? And I'm right because I'm like doing everything the right way or whatever that means, right? In my opinion. But really, when I got down to it, and I really like, now it's time. A lot of times, life is about math.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is like, you know, can you measure it? You're saying X, Y, and Z. Show it to me. Show me that you've done that. Where is it? Where does it live? So once I really start tracking what I was eating, I said, isn't that interesting? Yeah, you're eating good food, but look how much of it you're eating. Oh my God. Right? I had to like, I had a come to Jesus moment with myself, and I had to say, wow. Once I start tracking that, like what was going in my mouth this past month, this month starting like since July 2nd, I've lost 10 pounds, 2 pounds a week, just tracking what I'm putting in my mouth. And I'm like, it
Mhm.
was just that simple.
Hmm.
Me being on the struggle bus for years, okay? Because I needed to lose weight before I got sick on the struggle bus. And it was all, it came down to avoiding responsibility. Like, okay, I know that what makes a difference is to actually track what you're eating. Been there, done that. But I'm so enlightened. I don't have to do that now. I know what to do. Right.
There's a Nicole. There's a conversation that weight is a conversation,
Oh yeah.
and once you release the conversations, then the weight will disappear, and
Hmm.
the weight will disappear, and it's the same with like resentments. Resentments again, are like you drinking the poison, hoping the other person died. But there's something else about resentment. Resentment holds things in. So
Mm.
I always say to people, if you're struggling to release weight and you've done everything, what are you not letting go? And
Oh, I could tell you I wasn't letting go. Like, okay, yeah, it's taking a different level of effort to let this weight go than it did in the past. I'm older. This is a different body that I'm living inside of. This is not the same body from 20 years ago. Yet I wanted to operate like it's the same body. It's like, no, that was in the past. So it was basically, I had put my past into the future. Like, I can keep doing what I do, whatever. And it's like, well, how's that working for you? Right. And so
Yeah.
once I gave that up, and I'm like, okay, so there's something you did do in the past that worked for you didn't exhaust everything you can exhaust. You didn't do that. And I'm like, and then the first thing that came up is like, I don't want to do that. Right. It's like I was justifying my views or opinions are correct, even though they weren't working for me. But hey, I had to be right. Oh, I had to be right.
Mhm.
Right and
Mhm.
fat. Okay.
right,
Right and fat.
right,
And so
right.
I'm like,
What a
so,
payoff.
yeah.
Mm,
Right.
right
And I'm like,
and fat.
yeah. So it's like my all the exercise in the world was not gonna outdo
Nope.
me eating that much food. I'm like, underneath that, I'm like, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, in some cases, I'm like some really great looking muscles, certain parts of my body. The other parts of my body is like, okay, I don't care. You can't exercise that way. You're gonna have that's your food here, dear. Like abs are made in the kitchen, and that's what I'm
Ha,
dealing with right
yeah.
now. It's all for me. It's all abs. Everything else is thin, lean, and so just all abs. It's like, oh no, they're made in the kitchen. Trainer tells me that. I'm like, no, they're not. I can do what I want. Yeah, right. My body's laughing at me. It's like, go ahead, go ahead, try me. Keep on eating.
Mm, mm, mm. Well, you guys have definitely given some great shares in what is possible, what's available. Um, I want to add that what I see available is whatever you want to be available. You are creating Your breakthrough. You are in the space. You are creating the space right now for your breakthrough. And we're standing for you with that. So, guess what? We're now going to take a 5-minute break. And on the other side of the break, we will have our prosperity blaster by no one else except Ronnie B.
Truth within. More truth lives within you than you have yet allowed yourself to discover. Open up to it. Give expression to its wonder. Envision the spark of an idea catching fire. See it blazing its way into reality through your mind and your hands. Seek for beauty, meaning, substance, joy to enter into life because of your life. Live each moment in a spirit that welcomes truth and goodness and gives them living expression. Have the courage to feel what you have never felt. Engage your patience, your diligence to give voice to those feelings. Live to know, to feel, to see what is true. Live to bring the truth to life in your own unique way. Vast stretches of love, beauty, truth, goodness today await your discovery. Live to let it all flood into life. Straight flash, my city rush, ghetto crush. Let me lick on the substitute of the chaotic life I choose. Oh yeah, Mr. Pullover, oh yeah, that friend me over, cool down. Pull over, Mr. Ice Cream Man. 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 Roll the boat. Get it while it's too cold. Blow, flow, show the road. Pull over, Mr. Ice Cream Man. Pull over, Mr. Ice Cream Man. Pull over, Mr. Ice Cream Man. Watch it, punching and me on that rope a dope. It's just plenty, don't got no soap. Tell me, I cannot cope. Lonely, shorty, come we and dope ya. Hurry, freaky, why you picking on me? Do it quickly, just let me be. Phony can keep up on a pony for free. Come and show me, oh. Pull over, Mr. Ice Cream Man. Pull over, Mr. Ice Cream Man. Pull over, Mr. Ice Cream Man. Pull over, Mr. Ice Cream. Slow down on a Saturday. Monday, you're still a mile away. I've got you all so far away. Pull over, Mr. Ice Cream Man. 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 Oh yes, can't get to where I wanna be. So long I've been waiting at this hiking spot. Can't even lean on a tree. Every single one I lean on may jump. Every time I plant a seed, Mr. Contraceptive germination stop. When I'm resting on a beach, they never give me enough. They only give me one drop. To where I wanna be. So long I've been waiting at this hiking spot. Can't even lean on a tree. Every single one I lean on may jump. Every time I plant a seed, Mr. Contraceptive germination stop. When I'm resting on a beach, they never give me enough. They only give me one drop. Let me live on the substitute of this chaotic life I choose. Oh yeah, Mr. Pullover, oh yeah, that friend me over. Cool down. Truth with
Welcome back. I have a great prosperity blaster for you this week. Now, to design or create anything, you must start with a blank canvas or slate. So, a lot of the work that we've done and you've done in this session is to take stuff out of your space so that you can have that blank slate. Prosperity. I accept the abundance of God flowing to me and through me now. The biblical land flowing with milk and honey represents spiritual abundance and freedom. It portrays a life overflowing with blessings, a life full of divine potential. The truth is that I am living in a land flowing with milk and honey right here and right now. There is a constant flow of good in my life. My prosperity includes the assurance that wholeness, wisdom, and strength are mine. Knowing this, I am bold in spirit. I am aware of my own divine potential for living the life of my dreams. I accept the abundance of God that is always flowing to me and through me. I give and receive joyously and gratefully. He brought us into this place and gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. We have a very powerful exercise this week that will blow the lid off your class flow. Is there anyone interested in having a breakthrough in their cash flow? Anybody? Anybody want one?
Well,
Sign me up.
All right. Now to have this breakthrough is going to cost you some money. It's going to cost you exactly $7. And if you do the assignment
Ooh.
the way it is designed, you will have amazing breakthrough results in your personal or business cash flow. So here's the assignment for the next 7 days. All right. Give away $1 to someone who occurs as wealthy or living wealthy. So every day, you're going to give away $1 to someone who occurs as wealthy or living wealthy. Now, log the conversation in a daily journal. Each day, if you did the assignment, write it down and say what opened up for you. If you did not do the assignment, write that in your journal and what opened for you from not doing the assignment. Now, you always win the game you are playing. If you play this game full out, you will have miraculous results. That's called a bold statement of your power. Anyone on the team playing the game?
I'm definitely going to play the game.
stepping in.
All right. Now remember that some people we didn't say give $1 to someone who looked like they needed $1. It's $1 to someone who occurs as wealthy or living wealthy. Now, if you really want to have fun with the assignment, invite others to play. And when you give away the dollar, don't tell people it's an assignment. Like don't sit up there and go, here's $1. I had this assignment to do from the Living Wealthy seminar, the Prosperity Master. Don't do that. Don't tell them you're doing the assignment. You might be surprised uh, what you say. Now, I didn't say what they say, what you say. So again, keep a daily log or post daily on Facebook, any results or insights, and please share with the Prosperous Divas. Nikki, back to you.
Thank you, Ronnie B. We're now at our structures for existence. Before I continue, do we have any last thoughts from the team? I'm going to start with Viara. Do you have any last thoughts for the evening before we wrap things up?
I mean, I think the word for the night was authentic.
Hmm.
People need to
Mm.
keep that in the forefront of their mind. Are you being authentic? Most importantly, are you being authentic with yourself?
Ooh, like that. What about you, Nicole?
You know, I love the kind of the word. It's like being, authentic. So I think another, if I'm going to leave a word, is, well, let's just say two words. It's really about being present.
Ooh.
It's like when we go, it's kind of like we go dark. We just go, we're not present, and we're just uh, being automatic, unaware, like we're the way we're being, we're is completely undistinguished. Like we
Mhm.
can't really say whether we're present or not. We're just tuned out, and then so the habitual steps in, and we just do the same old, right? So it's like
Mhm.
being present. Like who are you being right now? Like who are you being and acting in the present?
Mhm.
If you're present, you can say, "Who am I being? Who am I being right now? How am I
Mhm.
operating right now? Is it from the past? What am I committed to? Like really being present and being on your A game and being awake, like really being awake."
Mhm.
So that's what I leave um, our our participants with. It's like being present to who you're being, what you're saying, doing, acting, and how you're being.
Mhm. Thank you. And Ronnie B, any last thoughts for you this evening?
Wow. What stood out for me this seminar is just this session uh, was you, Nikki, and your stand for your well-being and your expression of the stand.
Mm.
Now that's key, the expression of the stand. Because with that expression, you owned your power.
Mm.
Now, you got to be responsible, take care of yourself, do what you're supposed to do. But there's a powerful way to handle that and a way where you could have been a victim
Mm.
of handling that. And, uh, the course is Living Weight Wealthy, the basics, power and freedom. And I'll just say your expression manifested power and freedom. That was just awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank all of you. I'm going to say my last thoughts would be being responsible, reminding yourself that you are responsible for the present and you are responsible for the future. Your future lies in the responsibility of your own hands, nothing and no one else. So, we have a few ways for you to stay in the conversation for living wealthy: the basics, power, and freedom. Being at our next session of Living Wealthy, the basics, power, and freedom, session 4, which will be on Tuesday, August the 10th, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And also texting Prosperous Divas to 832-648-1975. That way you can receive daily diva thoughts and inspiration with insights into the world of prosperous thinking from Nicole, Ronnie B, myself, Viara, and others. You can also check us out at facebook.com/prosperous divas or prosperousdivas.com. We ask that you please visit our friends at the Veteran Women's Enterprise Center. Their website is veteranwomen'sec.org. Support VWEC as they support our women warriors winning the business battle. Please enjoy the performance at the end of the seminar and remember, prosperity is a mindset that can be created by anyone.